The Galactic Council banned human cuddles after 100 alien species got addicted. In the glittering expanse of the Galactic Concord, where megastations hummed around binary stars and multi-limbed traders bartered quantum gadgets, humanity was still finding its footing. A century into their interstellar membership, humans were learning how to avoid insulting sentient mists or accidentally trading their socks to psychic cephalopods. But nothing could have braced the galaxy for the upheaval caused by humanity's simplest gesture, the cuddle. That warm, arm-wrapping squeeze that whispered, "You're not alone," had spiraled into a bureaucratic catastrophe. At the center of this snuggle-fueled scandal was Theo Caldwell, a wiry exobiologist with a talent for chaos, and Queen Veylara, an alien monarch ready to defy the stars for one more hug. Theo hadn't set out to destabilize the cosmos. He'd signed up for a research post on Sylvaran Prime, a planet of sprawling metallic grasslands and towering, obsidian-like rock spires that hummed with faint electromagnetic pulses. The landscape was stark yet mesmerizing, its silver grasses swaying under a violet sky, far from the glowing jungles he'd read about in other systems. Sylvaran Prime was home to the Sylvarans, a graceful species with shimmering purple skin that gleamed like polished amethyst under the planet's twin suns. Their queen, Veylara, was striking, tall, with flowing silver hair and eyes like swirling galaxies. She ruled with poise, her presence commanding yet warm. Theo met her at a diplomatic gathering, clutching a glass of fizzy Xylarian ale, trying not to gawk at a tentacled envoy performing somersaults for attention. The trouble started innocently. Veylara, intrigued by the human newcomer, offered a Sylvaran greeting, a light brush of fingertips that sent a faint spark through Theo's hand. Misinterpreting it as a call for Earth-style warmth, Theo grinned. "Oh, you're into hugs too?" Before anyone could intervene, he enveloped her in a friendly embrace. The room went silent. Diplomats froze. A four-eyed aide spilled his drink. Veylara stiffened, then melted into the hug, her purple skin glinting brighter as she sighed, as if discovering a new law of physics. Theo, oblivious, patted her back and stepped away, unaware he'd just ignited a galactic incident. Unbeknownst to Theo, human cuddles were a biochemical wildfire. Research later showed that human touch unleashed a torrent of euphoric neurochemicals in over 100 alien species, Sylvarans included. It was like injecting pure bliss, addictive, disorienting, and wildly potent. Veylara, leader of a disciplined empire, was instantly smitten. She began dropping by Theo's lab with flimsy excuses, asking about his studies on the planet's electromagnetic flora, but lingering for the moment he'd offer a quick, clueless hug. Each embrace left her glowing, her court murmuring in panic as their composed queen started humming off-key and skipping council meetings. The Galactic Council, a pompous coalition of rule-obsessed species, caught wind of the cuddle crisis. Civilizations were unraveling. Xylarians ditched trade routes to chase human embraces. Kralaxians ignored their hives for snuggle marathons, and a squid-like race called the Quorath renamed their capital Hug Haven. The council summoned an emergency meeting in their polished orbital chamber, where a crab-like delegate clambered onto a podium and branded human cuddles Class S contraband, banning all earthly affection. Violators faced banishment to the void, a realm of eternal forms and no coffee. Theo, still clueless, was dubbed public enemy number one, his hugs deemed more perilous than a black hole. On Sylvaran Prime, Theo noticed a change. Invitations to mixers vanished, and his lab's budget evaporated. He cornered his friend Crix, a fluffy data analyst with twitching whiskers, who spilled the truth. "Your hugs are contraband, Theo," Crix yelped. "Veylara's court is a mess. She's sneaking out to see you. Her advisors say she's hooked." Theo ran a hand through his tousled hair, baffled. "Hooked? On my hugs? That's absurd. My sister says I hug like a half-asleep koala." But Veylara wasn't just sneaking out for hugs. She was scheming. Her fixation had kindled a defiance she couldn't ignore, a rejection of the council's joyless edicts. One night, she slipped into Theo's lab, Her purple skin dulled to evade notice, her voice low and urgent. "Theo, they're coming for you," she said, clutching his arm. "The Council's enforcers. They'll haul you to the void unless we fight back." Theo, still grappling with the idea that his hugs were illegal, met her galaxy swirl eyes and realized this was bigger than Cuddles. Veylara wasn't just craving his embrace. She was a queen ready to wage war for him. Vellara's grip on Theo's arm tightened, her voice a fierce whisper. "The Council's enforcers. They'll haul you to the void unless we fight back." Theo's heart pounded, his mind tripping over the absurdity of it all. His hugs, his perfectly ordinary, slightly awkward hugs, were illegal, and now he was a fugitive with a queen as his getaway driver. Before he could protest, Veylara was pulling him out of the lab, her movements swift and decisive. "We're heading to a safe house," she said, not breaking stride. "My loyalists are waiting." "Move!" Theo stumbled after her, clutching his datapad and a half-chewed energy bar, his legs struggling to match her pace. "Safe house," he panted. "Veylara, you're a queen. Can't you just order them to back off?" She snorted, a sound so unroyal it almost made him laugh. "The Council doesn't bow to crowns. Half my advisors want to turn you over to save our trade deals. They're calling your hugs a diplomatic disaster." She slowed slightly, her tone shifting. "But the other half, they're starting to doubt the Council. Your touch, Theo, it's stirring something." Theo dodged a crate as they wove through a cluttered storage bay. "Stirring something?" "Veylara, I'm a botanist, not a rebel leader. I analyze plants, not overthrow regimes." He waved his datapad for emphasis. "My hugs are barely passable. My cousin says I squeeze like a distracted puppy." A faint smile tugged at Vellara's lips. "You're selling yourself short. Your touch isn't just warmth, it's defiance. My guards are gossiping about Earth. My aides are questioning orders. The Council's terrified you'll unravel their whole system." Her voice dropped, intense. "And I think you can." Theo's stomach lurched, not from the running but from the weight of her words. The Council wasn't just banning Cuddles. They were guarding their control. His hugs had accidentally cracked open a door to rebellion, and now he was the galaxy's most wanted snuggler. A sharp rumble interrupted his thoughts, the air vibrating with the whine of an approaching ship. Veylara cursed under her breath. "Enforcers! Faster!" They ducked into a narrow passage, the walls lined with humming equipment. "The Council's got my cord on a leash," Veylara said, her breath quick. "If I shield you, they'll label my people rogues. My advisors are pushing me to denounce you, say I was seduced by your hugs. It'd keep our economy afloat." Her tone hardened. "But I'm done bending." "How should I die then?" "You're risking everything for me?" "Veylara, I'm nobody. Why bet your throne on a guy who trips over his own experiments?" He meant it half as a joke, but she stopped abruptly, turning to face him. Her eyes, sharp and unguarded, held his. "Because you're worth it," she said, her voice low and steady. "Your touch woke something in me, courage I'd buried under centuries of Council rules. You're proof we don't have to obey. I won't let them cage you." Her hand brushed his, a fleeting spark that made his pulse jump. For a moment, the chase faded, and it was just them, two sparks against a galaxy of rules. A blinding light shattered the moment, a spotlight pinning them in place. Drones descended, their red optics whirring. "Human designate, Theo Caldwell." One droned, its voice like a bored bureaucrat. "Surrender for processing. Non-compliance will escalate sanctions." Theo's mouth went dry. "Escalate? What's worse than avoid?" Veylara yanked him behind a stack of crates, her expression fierce. "Don't tempt them," she muttered. "They'll shred your atoms and bill you for it." She tapped a device on her wrist, and a distant hum answered, a skimmer cloaked and piloted by her loyalists, closing in. As they bolted toward the rendezvous, Theo's mind raced. The Council's ban was about more than Cuddles. It was about keeping everyone in check. His hugs had sparked a ripple of defiance, making Sylvarans question their rigid world. But that ripple could drown Veylara's reign, her people, everything. And Theo, who'd only wanted to study flora, was now a galactic outlaw, with a queen betting her empire on him. The skimmer hummed into view, a sleek craft that materialized from the shadows. Veylara shoved Theo aboard, where two guards with wary expressions nodded curtly. The craft lurched forward, speeding toward their destination. Theo glanced at Veylara, her profile taut with determination. "What's the plan?" he asked, voice shaky. "Hide me forever? Take on the council? I'm not exactly built for war." Her gaze flicked to him, a mix of steel and mischief. "We're not hiding, Theo. We're fighting. There's a loophole in the Concord's charter, a cultural exemption clause. We need evidence, allies, and time. The safe house is step one." She leaned closer, her tone teasing. "And maybe a hug to keep my edge." Theo let out a nervous laugh, the ridiculousness hitting him. He was a fugitive, his hugs were contraband, and a queen was his accomplice. The stakes were clear: outrun the enforcers, find a loophole, and prove humanity's warmth wasn't a crime. Failure meant oblivion for him and ruin for Veylara. As the skimmer sped on, Theo felt the weight of it all, but also a flicker of something new, a chance to be more than just a guy with a data pad. Theo's laugh caught in his throat, Veylara's teasing, and maybe a hug to keep my edge, sparking a flush he hoped the skimmer's dim lights hid. The craft's hum steadied his nerves as he met her gaze, her eyes glinting with mischief. He was a fugitive now, his hugs outlawed, and this queen was betting her crown on him. Before he could respond, one of the guards, a lean Sylvaran with a permanent frown, muttered, "We're here. Safe house. Hope you're worth the trouble, human." The skimmer slowed, and Veylara led the way into a cramped room buzzing with consoles and tense Sylvarans. Her loyalists, their faces a mix of loyalty and doubt. Theo clutched his data pad, feeling like a kid crashing a war council. "So, this loophole," he said, aiming for confidence but landing on shaky. "Cultural exemption, right? We prove hugs are Earth's thing and not galactic heroin. What do we need?" Veylara settled at a console, her movement sharp but her voice warm. "Evidence. Data on human biology, Sylvaran reactions, maybe old Concord cases. If we show hugs are harmless tradition, the council has to reconsider." She glanced at him, a challenge in her eyes. "You're a scientist. Can you handle it?" Theo nodded, his fingers already tapping his pad. "Data's my jam. I can dig up human studies. Hugs go back forever. Probably got cavemen cuddling in the archives." He paused, doubt creeping in. "But, Veylara, I'm not a leader. I'm a guy who spills coffee on his notes. You sure you've got the right human?" Her expression softened, and she leaned closer, her voice low. "I'm sure. Your hugs did what my laws couldn't. They made my people question. Guards, aides, even me. You're not just a scientist, Theo. You're a spark." Her hand hovered near his, not touching but close enough to make his pulse jump. "And I need that spark." Theo's cheeks burned, her faith both thrilling and terrifying. "Okay, but you're risking your throne. For me? I'm nobody special." He meant it as a shield, but the question slipped out raw, searching. Veylara's eyes held his, unflinching. "You're special to me. Your touch, it saw past my title, my duty. It was honest. I've hidden behind rules for centuries, but you make me want to break them." Her voice caught, a rare crack in her regal armor, and Theo's heart skipped. He wanted to say something clever, but all he managed was a flustered, cool. "Let's data." A gruff voice cut in, a stocky loyalist named Lerna, her arms crossed. "Your Majesty, this is reckless. The Council's choking our trade routes already. Why is this human worth our ruin?" Her glare pinned Theo, who raised his hands, data pad dangling. "Hey, I'm not here to tank your economy," he said, his Earth humor kicking in. "But if my hugs are causing this much chaos, maybe the Council's scared of something real. Give me a shot to prove it. Worst case, I'm out of your hair. Best case, you get to hug without a drone zapping you." Lerna's scowl wavered, and a few loyalists chuckled. Veylara's lips twitched, her pride in Theo clear. "He's right," she said, her tone commanding. "The Council's ban is about control, not safety. Theo's proof we can fight back. Help us or step aside." Her words silenced the room, but Lerna's skeptical huff lingered, a reminder of the court's divide. Theo dove into the console, pulling up the Concord Charter while Veylara fed him clauses. "This bit," she said, pointing at a dense paragraph. "Exemptions for cultural practices if they're non-disruptive. We need human data to back it." Theo nodded, cross-referencing biology texts, his human knack for patterns shining. "Got something. Oxytocin release in humans ties to bonding. If I map it to Sylvaran neurology, we might have a case." They worked side by side, their shoulders brushing, the air between them charged. Theo cracked jokes to ease the tension. "Bet the council's just jealous they can't hug like us," and Veylara matched him with dry wit, her quips surprising the loyalists. But Lerna's warnings about trade freezes gnawed at Theo. He wasn't just fighting for himself. Veylara's people were on the line. "You're really all in?" he asked quietly, his fingers pausing. "If this flops, you're done." Her hand settled on his arm, steady. "I'm all in. You've changed me, Theo. I'm not turning back." The words hit like a hug he couldn't return, not with the loyalists watching. Instead, he grinned, lopsided. "Then let's make these drones cry." The loyalists warmed to Theo's humor, some offering data tips, but Lerna's doubt and the council's looming pressure cast a shadow. Theo felt the stakes rising, his self-doubt clashing with Veylara's belief. Maybe, just maybe, he could be the spark she saw. Maybe, just maybe, he could be the spark she saw. Theo shook off the thought, focusing on the console's data stream, as Veylara pointed out another charter clause. "This one's tricky," she said, her voice steady but laced with excitement. "It demands independent testimony. We need other species to vouch for your hugs." Her shoulder brushed his, the accidental contact sending a jolt through him. "Vouch for my hugs?" Theo grinned, leaning into the absurdity. "What, like a galactic Yelp review? 5 stars, Theo's cuddles changed my life?" A loyalist snorted, and even Lerna's scowl twitched. Veylara's laugh, soft but genuine, made his chest tighten. "Exactly," she said. "Find us a Xylarian or two, and we're golden." They dug deeper, Theo cross-referencing human bonding studies with Sylvaran neural scans. His quick wit kept the mood light. If we pitch hugs as therapy, the council's got no shot, but his mind lingered on Veylara's earlier words. She saw him, not just as hugs, and that trust was pulling him out of his shell. He caught her watching him, her expression unguarded, and fumbled his data pad, earning a teasing smirk. A loyalist interrupted, voice tense. "Message from the palace. Council's sending auditors to pressure the court." Lerna's eyes narrowed. "This human's trouble, Majesty." Theo met her gaze, his humor steady. "Trouble's my middle name." "Well, actually it's Michael, but I'm working on it." Lerna huffed, but nodded, a crack in her doubt. Veylara's hand grazed his, a quiet anchor. "We'll beat them," she murmured. Theo nodded, his doubt fading. He wasn't just a botanist anymore. He was her partner in this fight, and that was enough to keep going. Theo's shaky grin held as he said, "Let's find this Xylarian and make hugs legal again." Veylara's nod was a silent vow, her eyes catching his with a trust that made his heart skip. The safe house hummed with tension, loyalists scrambling to secure a calm channel to the Xylarian trader. Time was slipping away, and the council's auditors were circling back. Theo gripped his data pad, ready to charm or beg, whatever it took to get that testimony. Lerna patched through the calm, her voice clipped. "Trader's on. Don't mess this up, human." A holographic figure flickered to life. A Xylarian, all shimmering scales and 6 arms, lounging like a cosmic used car salesman. "Queen Veylara," the trader drawled. "This about that human cuddle nonsense?" "Heard you're in deep." Veylara's tone was sharp but diplomatic. "We need your testimony, Zura. You felt a human hug. Tell the council it's harmless, part of their culture." Her glance at Theo was quick, a signal to jump in. Theo cleared his throat, his earth charm kicking in. "Hey, Zura, I'm Theo, the hug guy. Look, my cuddles aren't drugs. They're just us. You like that hug at the trade summit, right? 5 stars. He winked, hoping humor would bridge the gap. Zara's scales rippled, a Xylarian laugh. "Bold, human. Yeah, your hug was something, clear my head, not scrambled it. But here's the thing." His voice dropped, conspiratorial. "The council's ban? It's not about addiction. The Kralaxians pushed it. They're scared humans will charm their way to power. Your hugs make folks too free. Theo's jaw dropped. Veylara's hand tensed on the console, her voice low. The Kralaxians? Why hide it? Zara shrugged. Control. They've got the Council's ear, and humans are bad for business. I'll testify, but only if you expose their game. That's my price. The room froze. Exposing a Council conspiracy could rally allies, but paint a bigger target on them. Theo's mind raced. His hugs weren't just contraband. They were a political bomb. So, we blow the lid off this, or stick to the loophole? He asked Veylara, his voice steady despite the stakes. Her eyes met his, a mix of fire and caution. Exposing them's risky, but it could change everything. We need more than Zara, documents, maybe a Kralaxian defector. Her hand brushed his, a quiet anchor. Your call, Theo. You're the spark. Theo's chest tightened, her trust pushing past his doubts. Okay, let's do both. Get Zara's testimony for the loophole, but dig for dirt on the Kralaxians. If we're going down, we're taking their secrets with us. His grin was reckless, pure human defiance, and Zara's scales shimmered with approval. Deal, the Xylarian said. I'll send you my statement. Good luck, hugger. As the comm cut off, a loyalist burst in, voice frantic. Lerna's gone. She's meeting a council agent. Thinks turning Theo in will save her family. Theo's gut twisted, Veylara's face hardening. She's loyal but desperate, Veylara said. We need to stop her before she talks. Theo jumped up, his human empathy kicking in. Let me talk to her. She's scared, not a traitor. I can get through. Veylara hesitated, then nodded, her faith in him clear. Go. I'll star on the Kralaxian lead. Her fingers squeezed his arm, a fleeting warmth that steadied him. He bolted after Lerna, his data pad buzzing with Zara's incoming statement. The Council's secret changed everything. His hugs weren't just a quirk. They were a threat to the galaxy's power structure. But Lerna's betrayal could end it all now. Theo's resolve hardened, his human heart driving him forward. He wasn't just fighting for hugs. He was fighting for Veylara, her people, and a chance to rewrite the rules. The clock was ticking, and every move counted. Theo's boots pounded the safe house floor, his data pad buzzing with Zara's testimony as he chased Lerna. He caught her in a dim corridor, her hand on a comm device, poised to call the council agent. Lerna, wait. Theo's voice was sharp but pleading, his human empathy taking over. I know you're scared for your family, but turning me in won't save them. It'll just tighten the council's grip. He stepped closer, his data pad glowing with Zara's statement. We got a shot to change this. Help us, please. Lerna's eyes flickered, torn. You don't get it, human. The trade cuts. They're starting us. My kids. Her voice broke, raw with desperation. Theo's heart twisted. He wasn't a hero, but he knew fear and he knew trust. I get it, he said softly. But Veylara's fighting for your kids, too. She believes in us. Give me 1 hour. Zara's testimony, the Kralaxian secret. We can win this. She hesitated, then lowered the comm, her shoulders slumping. 1 hour. Don't make me regret it. Theo exhaled, his grin shaky but real. Deal. And, maybe a hug later? Strictly platonic. Lerna's huff was almost a laugh, her loyalty teetering back to Veylara. Back in the main room, Veylara was hunched over a console, her fingers flying through encrypted files. Theo, you're back, she said, her voice tight with focus. Lerna, her eyes flicked up, searching. She's with us, Theo said, sliding beside her. What have you got? Veylara's nod was quick, her relief palpable. A Kralaxian memo, buried in a trade archive. It confirms Zara's story. They push the band to curb human influence. They're terrified of your charm. Her lips twitched, a teasing edge cutting through the tension. Theo's eyebrows shot up. My charm? I'm flattered, but I'm more trips over cables than galactic heartthrob. He leaned in, scanning the memo. This is gold. With Zara's testimony, we can nail the loophole and expose these jerks. His humor masked the stakes. Veylara's reign, his freedom, a galaxy's rules hung in the balance. Before Veylara could reply, the safe house shook, a deep rumble signaling trouble. A loyalist at the comm shouted, "Enforcers! They've breached the outer locks." Theo's stomach lurched. His hack had delayed the auditors, but the Council's drones were done playing. Lerna, now by his side, gripped a weapon, her loyalty firm. "We fight or run, human. Your call." Veylara's voice cut through the chaos. "We run. Get to the Council's relay station. We'll broadcast Zara's testimony in this memo. It's our only shot." Her hand grabbed Theo's, pulling him toward a side exit. "You ready?" Her eyes locked on his, a mix of fire and trust that made his pulse race. "Born ready," Theo lied, his grin masking panic. "Let's make these drones regret chasing me." The loyalists rallied, Lerna leading a rear guard as Theo, Veylara, and a small team slipped through a maintenance tunnel. His data pad buzzed with the memo and testimony, their only weapons against a galaxy's worth of bureaucracy. Veylara's grip on his hand was steady, a silent promise they'd face this together. The tunnel echoed with enforcer drones closing in, their mechanical whirs a grim reminder of the void. Theo's mind raced, his human ingenuity kicking in. "If we hack the relay's signal, we can broadcast to every delegate at once," he said, his fingers already tapping his pad. "No way the Council can ignore that." Veylara's smile was fierce. "Do it. I'll get us there." Her leadership shone, guiding the team through the maze as Theo worked, his focus split between code and her unwavering resolve. Lerna's voice crackled through a comm, "Drones are on us, hurry." Theo's hack was close, but the relay station was still ahead, and every second tightened the noose. The tunnel's walls vibrated with the drone's relentless whir, but Veylara's steady grip on Theo's hand kept him grounded. His data pad glowed, the relay hack nearly complete as they neared the Council's relay station. "Almost got it," Theo muttered, his fingers dancing across the screen. "Just need to spoof their security grid." Veylara's nod was sharp, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Keep moving. We're close." Her leadership held the loyalists together, Lerna's weapon steady at the rear. The tunnel opened into a sealed hatch, the relay station's back door. Theo's hack buzzed, unlocking it with a hiss. "We're in," he said, his grin half-cocked despite the drone's approach. Veylara pushed through, her posture commanding as she scanned the station's control room. Consoles blinked, ready to broadcast to every Council delegate. "Theo, get that signal up," she ordered, her eyes flicking to him with a trust that made his chest tighten. He dove to a console, plugging in his datapad, broadcasting Zara's testimony and the Kralaxian memo in 3, 2. The screen flared, projecting their evidence across the galaxy. Zara's voice boomed. "Human hugs are harmless, cultural, not addictive." The memo followed, exposing the Kralaxian scheme to suppress human influence. Theo's heart raced. This was it, their shot to flip the galaxy's rules. Lerna's voice crackled through the comm. "Drones are breaching the tunnel." Veylara spun, barking orders to the loyalists. "Barricade the hatch." Her hand grazed Theo's shoulder, a fleeting anchor. "You've got this," she murmured, her tone soft but fierce. Theo nodded, his focus razor-sharp, his human ingenuity in overdrive. The Council's response was instant. A Kralaxian delegate's voice blared through the relay, all clicks and fury. "This is slander. The human must be detained." Theo's stomach lurched. Kralaxians weren't just offensive, they were scared. He patched into the broadcast, his Earth humor kicking in. "Hey, Kralaxians, if hugs scare you, maybe try yoga? Less paperwork." A few loyalists chuckled, and Veylara's lips twitched, her pride clear. But the Kralaxians weren't laughing. The station shook as enforcer drones rammed the hatch. Lerna fired, her loyalty now ironclad. "For the Queen!" she shouted, saving Theo from a drone's blast. He shot her a grateful look. "Oh, you won, Lerna. Maybe two." She grunted, her scowl softer, fully committed. Veylara seized the broadcast, her voice ringing with regal fire. "Delegates, the Kralaxians lied to control us. Humans aren't the threat. Fear is. Lift the ban, or we all lose." Her words hit like a spark, and Theo saw neutral delegates' signals flicker, some are listening. His data pad pinged, showing Xylarian and Vaxian delegates signaling support. "It's working," he whispered, his voice shaky with hope. The hatch buckled, drones pouring in. Theo's fingers flew, locking the broadcast to loop, ensuring the galaxy heard their case. Veylara pulled him behind a console as drones fired. "We need to hold them off," she said, her eyes locked on his. Theo improvised, rerouting the station's power to overload the drone's sensors. "Take that, you flying toasters." Some drones sparked and crashed, but more surged forward. Lerna and the Loyalists fought, their unity forged in the chaos. Theo's arc was complete. He wasn't just a botanist. He was a leader fighting for Veylara and her people. The Kralaxians' objections grew louder, accusing Veylara of treason. Theo countered, patching in a direct feed. "Delegates, you've seen the memo. Kralaxians want control, not safety. Who's with us?" More signals lit up. Vaxians, Xylarians, even a rogue Kralaxian defector. Veylara's nod was subtle, her encouragement a spark that kept Theo going. "Keep pushing," she said, her voice steady. The drones pressed closer, and the council's chamber buzzed with debate, their fate hanging on every word. The broadcast looped, Kralaxian objections clashing with growing delegate support. Theo's hack held, but drones swarmed, their lasers grazing the console. Veylara's quick glance, fierce and trusting, urged him on. "We're not done," she said, her voice a quiet fire. Theo grinned, his human defiance unwavering. Not by a long shot. Lerna's shots bought them seconds, but the council's resistance stiffened, and the fight was far from won. The broadcast loop filled the station with Zara's testimony, the Kralaxian memo flashing across every delegate screen. Theo's data pad pinged. More supporters, now including its Kari cluster, their signal a faint but growing beacon. "We're gaining ground," he said, his voice tight with hope. Veylara leaned close, her shoulder brushing his, her focus unbroken. "Good. But the Kralaxians are stalling. They're pushing for a vote delay." Her tone was sharp, her leadership a steady anchor. Theo's fingers danced, strengthening the broadcast signal to drown out Kralaxian interference. They can stall all they want. Galaxy's watching now. His human ingenuity shone, countering a Kralaxian attempt to jam the feed. A drone's laser scorched the console, and Theo ducked, pulling Veylara with him. Her eyes met his, a shared resolve that cut through the chaos. "Nice save," she murmured, her breath warm against his ear, sparking a flush he couldn't hide. Lerna's voice roared, her loyalty cemented as she downed another drone. "Keep that signal up, human." She dove forward, shielding a wounded loyalist, her actions proving her commitment. Theo's heart swelled. Lerna wasn't just fighting for Veylara now. She believed in him. "You got it," he called, his confidence no longer a mask but a truth. The council's chamber erupted, delegates shouting over Kralaxian demands for Theo's arrest. Veylara seized the moment, her voice booming through the broadcast. "The loophole is clear. Human hugs are cultural, not criminal. Vote now, or answer to your people." Her words rallied more signals. Half the council was swaying. Theo's data pad showed the loophole, gaining traction, but Kralaxians moved to block, citing procedural errors. Theo improvised, hacking a delegate feed to amplify a Xylarian support. "Listen to Zara," the Xylarian urged. The Kralaxians fear freedom. The chamber buzzed, but drones breached the inner station, their optics locking on Theo. Lerna and the Loyalists formed a line, their unity unbreakable. Theo's leadership was undeniable. He wasn't just Veylara's partner. He was the spark for a rebellion. Veylara's hand rested briefly on his, a steadying touch. "We're close," she said, her voice low, her trust a lifeline. Theo nodded, his human heart driving him. The broadcast held, delegates teetered on a vote, but Kralaxian resistance and drone assaults tightened the noose. Every second pushed them closer to victory, or collapse. The relay station shuddered, enforcer drones' lasers searing the air as Theo's broadcast looped, Zara's testimony and the Kralaxian memo flooding every delegate screen. Veylara's voice, fierce and unwavering, echoed through the chaos. "We're close," she'd said, her brief touch on Theo's hand a lifeline. He nodded, his human heart driving him. The council's debate teetering on a knife's edge. Kralaxian objections clashed with growing support, and Theo's hack held firm, but the drones were relentless, their optics zeroing in. Theo dove for a secondary console, his fingers flying. "One more trick," he muttered, rerouting the station's coolant system to miss the drones, shorting their circuits. Sparks flew, drones crashing in heaps, and Lerna hooped, her rifle downing the last stragglers. "Nice one, human," she called, her loyalty a rock. Theo grinned, his leadership no longer questioned. He was in this fight all the way. Veylara seized the lull, her voice booming through the broadcast. "Delegates, the evidence is clear. Vote for the loophole, or let fear rule you." Her words landed, and Theo's data pad lit up. Sylvaran, Vaxian, and Tari signals solidified, joined by a dozen others. A Vaxian delegate's voice cut through, calm but firm. "The loophole is valid. We motioned to lift the ban." Theo's breath caught, hope surging. The Kralaxians faltered, their lead delegate's clicks frantic. "This violates protocol." But the chamber's roar drowned them out, delegates' signals flashing green. Theo patched in, his earth humor sharp. "Protocol? How about truth? Your memo's busted, folks. Hugs win." The chamber buzzed, and a vote tally appeared. 62% for the loophole. Then 75%. The Kralaxians slumped, their conspiracy crumbling under galactic scrutiny. The final vote pinged, 82%. The ban was lifted. Theo hooped, punching the air, and Lerna's rare grin matched the loyalist cheers. Veylara's eyes met his, her nod subtle but brimming with pride. "You did it," she said, her voice low, a warmth that hit Theo harder than any hug. He rubbed his neck, flustered. "We did it. Team effort, you know." The station quieted, drones offline, the broadcast fading. Veylara addressed the loyalists, her tone regal but warm. "You stood with us. Sylvaran won't forget." She turned to Lerna, her gaze steady. "You doubted, but you fought. Name your reward." Lerna straightened, her voice firm. "Just keep fighting for us, Majesty. And maybe let the humans stay." "How being get, thou jet." "Ah, Lerna, you do care." Veylara's lips twitched, her amusement clear. The court's tensions eased, loyalists united by their victory. Back at the palace, Veylara's reign stabilized, trade routes reopened, the council's pressure fading as the Kralaxian plot lost teeth. Theo's data pad pinged with messages, Xylarians offering trade deals, Vaxians requesting hug seminars. His hugs weren't just legal, they were a galactic trend. Theo stood with Veylara later, away from the bustle, the weight of their fight settling. "I was just a botanist," he said, half laughing. "Now I'm what hug ambassador?" Veylara's gaze softened, her posture relaxed for once. "You're Theo. That's enough." Her teasing lilt returned. "Though I might request your diplomatic skills again." Theo's cheeks burned, his charm faltering. Anytime, Your Majesty." The Kralaxians lingered, their influence weakened but not gone, whispering in council corners. Theo and Veylara's victory was real, but the galaxy's politics churned on. Their bond, forged in defiance, held a quiet promise. Partners, maybe more, ready for whatever came next. Theo grinned, his human heart light. Hugs had won, and he was just getting started.